Good day, everybody. Welcome to Shop Under the Oaks. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about dust collection and what I chose to do in my shop. May help some people out because dust collection is one of those things that it can be extremely aggravating. I've got the main dust collection on the one side of my shop, and that's where all my big machines live that use the big dust collector. However, I've got my sanders all on the opposite side of the shop, and I have no dust collection over here at all. So what I decided to do was put it on a central vac system, or put it on a wet vac. And now I have a Harbor Freight 14-gallon wet dry vac that I keep underneath this table right here. I was moving it around from machine to machine, and then the fittings don't exactly work, and it's just trying to use duct tape and all kinds of different things doing. Nothing really wanted to work right. So what I decided to do was sit down and design all the fittings on each machine to go from the machine to a 2.5-inch pipe. And it's a 2.5-inch flex pipe that you can get from Amazon. Again, anything that I've got in this video that I can find a link to it, I'll throw it up there for you so you can kind of get an idea of what I'm using, and you can get the same whatever you want to do. I don't have any affiliations or anything like that, but you can just gives you an idea of what's going on. But the heart of the system is the splitter I built. Now this splitter has a 2.5-inch inlet, which basically goes down to the vacuum, and then I got 3 machines, so I built a 3-way splitter. I'm also going to throw up on the descriptions a link for a 2-way splitter, and I think I've designed the 4-way splitter. I don't know if I did it or not, but if I did, it'll be up there. All of the components for each one of these machines is going to be at Printables, so you can go get it. No, don't cost you anything. Just download it, print them off. If 3 machines that I currently have designed are the Bauer oscillating spindle edge sander. This is red guy here. The blue one is the older Central Machineries one, and it's got the same design as the Win one. But I know that Harbor Freight has now got this in a gray model, but I believe all the components are the same. They just changed the housing a little bit. But you can check yours. In the fitting that I have designed for this particular one is 53 millimeters. So just just take your calipers and measure the outside of the dust collector port that comes out of the back of the machine. If it's 53 or right there close to 53, should be good to go with this particular fitting. And like I said, they're going to all be listed as to which machine they fit in the description. And then my last machine is my porter cable. This one here was actually a little bit aggravating for me for the longest time, and it's because it has a square outlet port. Now it has a little fan motor that blows its dust out. It doesn't really need it, but it does get a lot of airflow through that little housing. So we built a square one for that. I also have one more fitting that I'll show you in the last of the video, and it fits the Bauer compound miter saw. Just so happens that outlet port and the one for the Bauer oscillating edge sander are exactly the same thing. They're the same size, so one fitting works for both of them. But we'll look at that one because it's just a little bit different. I built it on a 90 degree, so I'll explain that a little bit more in a minute. So an integral part of this whole system just makes things a lot easier. So I have to reach underneath the table and turn on the vacuum. There's these little switches you can buy on Amazon. I'll find a link to. I don't think they sell this particular one anymore, as they always do. They always changing stuff up. But I'll find one that's comparable and throw it up there for you guys. But it's very simple. As soon as any one of these machines comes on, I got a little splitter going to it. It activates the vacuum. So then I've got a vacuum that automatically works. I don't have to fight with it. Just turn the machine on and it's all good to go. But we'll look at all that here in a minute. Let's take a minute and get all this stuff hooked up, and then I'll show you how it all works. Okay. So as I stated before, the way I've got my system hooked up currently is I've got the vacuum hooked to the main hose going to the 3-way splitter and then to each machine. I have no blast gates whatsoever. So we're going to test real quick, and I'll bring you in here closer so you can see see what the dust is doing. But there's plenty of suction with 3 of these machines with no gates on them, so we're not isolating any machines. But I also will note, make sure you guys understand that in the vacuum itself, I have the regular canister filter on the unit, plus I've used the bags that you can get from Harbor Freight for this particular vacuum. They're a really good deal. They're not expensive. I think you get 3 to a pack, something like that, maybe 2 to a pack. And they just pop in, and what happens is they've got enough porousness to them that the vacuum works perfect through them, and it traps all that fine dust in that bag. That way you're not clogging up those pleated filters. Those pleated filters are pretty expensive. If you start having to replace one every couple of days, and just this fine sand dust will pack one up in no time. But you got to have some kind of filtration, or you'll burn your motor up. So yeah, the bags are the best option to go with. You can find them on the little end rack there in Harbor Freight when you look at the vacuums, if you're not familiar with that. So okay, we're gonna reset the camera for each machine, and we'll turn them on and sand a little bit on this piece of. I got a little piece of cherry here, and just let you see that it does work, and it should work for your system. Okay, so we're going to start the machine up, and it's going to get kind of noisy. So I'm going to try to lower the volume once you guys hear everything come online. I'll lower the volume so we're not irritated by all that. But just pay attention to the dust, and you'll notice it all kind of gets sucked down in. So like I said, dust collection is one of those things where everybody has a different way of doing it. It's just the way it is, I guess. Again, the main components that I have designed that's going to help people out is the fitting to go from 2.5 to the 14-gallon Harbor Freight wet dry vac. Goes to 2.5 to the Bauer oscillating sander, 2.5 to the spindle sander, and 2.5 to the rigid, not rigid, excuse me, it's porter cable belt and disc sander. And like I said, the chop saw or miter saw, whatever you call it, takes the exact same fitting as the Bauer oscillating saw. And I've got a 90-degree for it. And the biggest reason why is I found the straight one tends to let the hose get hung up on that sliding mechanism from time to time. Depends on what position I have the saw in. If you're cutting angles or whatever, sometimes it gets to be a little aggravating. But with the 90-degree, it kicks it out away from everything, so it's not a problem. Now, if you have a machine that I have not gone over here and you need one, just shoot me a message with the sizes, and I can jump on real quick and jump into Fusion and design one for you. So yeah, if you don't have a 3D printer and you want some of these, just I'm going to put a link in the description to my Etsy store where I'll put these on Etsy, and you can just pick them up there. Other people have them, although I haven't found any to fit these exact machines, or I would have went through the aggravation of designing everything and printing them off for myself. But if you have something, again, that you need done, a size specific to your machine, go ahead and just hit me up with something in the comments, and I'll work around and see if I can get it done for you. In the coming days, I'm not going to do a video on it, but I'm going to run over to Harbor Freight with my micrometers, and I'm basically going to measure every machine they got, and I'll put all those. I'll probably feed them into this description later as I get them, and I'll throw them all up on Printables. I don't know if you guys have ever, if you've been to Printables, you understand once you find somebody's link, or you can follow them, you'll see them every time they upload a different model. I'm just going to upload them all right there for free for anybody who wants them, and I'll throw them on the Etsy store for those that don't want to buy, $500, $600, $700, $800 printer, and they just need a couple fittings. So with all that being said, hopefully you guys have a great day, and just keep on chopping up wood and making stuff.